Hi everybody, I'm Namita Thapar, Executive Director of MCure Pharmaceuticals, and today I'm excited about a conversation I'm going to have with one of the topmost thought leaders of our country, an endocrinologist by head and a yogi by heart, and a dear friend of mine, Dr. Shashank Joshi. You come up with these incredible videos and news articles, and I'm one of those who follows them and learns so much. The latest article I want to start this conversation with, you spoke about remission of diabetes, not reversal, remission. So can we talk a little bit more about your thoughts around remission and what is the difference between remission and reversal?
So Namita ji, two things. One is that type 2 diabetes is the one which can undergo remission.
Right.
Type 1 diabetes needs insulin for life. Secondary diabetes, gestational diabetes cannot be remitted. In type 2 diabetes, in the first decade and a half, with lifestyle alone, you can do remission. So the guru of remission actually is in UK, and his name is Professor Roy Taylor. What he did is he took people in GPs in UK, and he told them to have only 600 or 800 calories.
That's too less though.
Yeah. And 50% of them, the diabetes was into remission completely.
But is this 800 calorie diet sustainable for life?
So what we did is, with the help of IIT Research Park scientists and scientists from California, we use artificial intelligence.
Okay.
And we then did a randomized control trial to use personalized medicine, personalized diet, physical activity, lifestyle, sleep, and made a program for remission where we were able to remit people almost to 75%. And our RCT is now in the third year. And even we presented that RCT at the American Diabetic Association meeting, European Association of Study of Diabetes. And the difference between remission and reversal is, remission is a term we picked up from the cancer specialist.
Okay.
See, you are in remission as long as you are following a proper lifestyle.
Correct.
You know, there are green foods, there are orange foods, there are, red foods. Then there is, you need to have adequate sleep, 7 hours of sleep. You need to do things correctly. So, if you don't follow them, you will again get back the disease. In reversal, we are giving a false sense of security.
Okay, it's something permanent.
It's like something permanent, and then you falter and you go back to square one.
Got it.
So remember, type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle disease. See, we are on planet Earth, we have 8 billion people. Of them, 1 billion people have either diabetes or pre-diabetes.
Right.
And it's something which can be remitted.
Right.
It's the true, real care of people living with diabetes is in remission of type 2 diabetes.
Right.
And it's very, very doable.
And that's why I use the word remission versus reversal, because remission is something that ensures that the protocol is something, the lifestyle changes are something that you do on a consistent basis.
That's correct.
Coming back to my earlier question of 800 calories, is it sustainable?
That's very tough. So can you eat 1200 calories? Can you have 2 meals a day? Can you then program by doing some physical activity, being fidgety? See, exercise is only not just saying that, doing a regimentation, like 10,000 steps a day. You need to personalize diet, you need to personalize exercise, you need to personalize sleep, and then you need to find out defects. So when you eat very less, actually what happens is that when we eat too much, we have too many calories.
Right.
Then there is fatty liver, fatty pancreas.
What does that mean?
Which means that there is fat in the liver and fat in the pancreas, and then the liver doesn't work properly, the pancreas doesn't work properly, it doesn't make insulin correctly, it doesn't act properly, and our glucose doesn't get. See, why do we need glucose? Every cell of our body needs energy.
Right.
Like mobile battery charging, everybody knows.
Correct.
Everybody carries with their mobile a charger, and they will also carry a backup.
Correct.
Similarly, every cell of our body needs glucose.
Absolutely.
And what happens in type 2 diabetes? That insulin is like a coolie. It picks up the glucose from the blood and puts it inside the cell. And unfortunately, there is a defect. There's a lock and key mechanism which is blocked. So what actually, fatty liver, fatty pancreas, when we eat less,
right,
the fatty liver goes, the fatty pancreas goes, and the metabolism gets re-regulated. Insulin works properly on the cells. The lock and key mechanism is okay. The glucose gates are open. Glucose goes inside the cells. Cells feel happy and energized, and you feel good, and you remit diabetes. That's how actually it works. So it is basically fixing up the metabolism. It is fixing up the metabolic tissues.
Right.
And therefore, it is very important, and that's why they say they have actually changed the name of fatty liver now. They call it as a metabolic associated steatohepatitis.
Oof.
It's a big term.
Yes, it is.
But actually, the lot of our diseases are emanating from the liver.
Right.
And formerly, the liver was associated only with alcohol and fat.
Right.
But then we had this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Right.
But now we do not call it, because fat is a stigma, the word alcohol is a stigma. We want to destigmatize it.
Got it.
And we want to give people hope that if you do a little disciplined lifestyle with a little bit of precision medicine under medical advice, you can actually see some excellent outcomes, because we are ultimately outcome centric. See, what is our goal?
Numbers
Our
speak.
goal is to have a complication free world without diabetes. See, with 8 billion people on planet Earth, a billion people living with diabetes, we don't want them to die of heart disease or kidney disease or complications.
Correct.
And for that, remission or control is very important.
Absolutely. And you've spoken a lot about lifestyle. 2-3 things that really stood out for me that I want you to elaborate a little bit more on. Beautiful term where you said sitting is a new smoking. Why don't we talk about that?
So that's very true. See, we are sedentary. And we have something called as NEAT, NEAT. NEAT is non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Oh, okay.
So you and
That's
me are
actually
very
a term
fidgety.
or you created it?
No, it's an actual medical term.
Okay.
Okay, and most people are very sust and must.
Right.
Okay,
Sust and must. That you've created.
Okay, and we need to be fidgety and active all the time. So it is not just doing those 10,000 steps a day or 1,000 steps 10 times a day, but beyond that, building some muscle, okay, doing some yoga and kapalbhati, and then being fidgety all the time. Because if you keep on sitting, then what is going to happen?
Right.
It is equal to the smoking risk.
Correct.
So therefore, we need to be physically active all the time.
Right.
Therefore, even now, in the American Diabetic Association guidelines and the ESD guidelines, which is just coming out now, they have included that at least do 5 minutes of brisk walk every hour. If you can't get time to do exercise, every hour, 5 minutes
of brisk walk.
Because you want to break that monotony of sitting.
Correct.
Okay, because it is actually equal to smoking.
Correct.
And you can actually add 4 years of life. So you can live longer by 4 years by just breaking this sitting monotony.
Right.
And actually walking for 5 minutes of brisk walk every day.
Second thing you talk a lot about is cooking oils. You have some strong views around cooking oils. I really enjoyed reading that. Why don't we talk about that?
So you see, this is a $1 billion question. Which is the right oil? How much oil should you cook in?
Yeah.
So the first thing is that we are Indians. We love food. And we love frying and fried food.
Yes.
And it all comes from the cooking and the tadka. And the temperature is very high. It's 200, 300 degrees. So what happens is there is a lot of free oxidation which occurs.
Yeah.
And free radical damage which occurs. So first principle is cook in less oil. Less than half kg per person per month.
Right.
Then no oil is perfect. Olive oil is for Mediterraneans.
Oh, yeah.
Indian olive oil is actually rice bran oil. But the Indian regulator FSSAI thought that you should at least blend 2 oils.
Right.
So there is just like you have insulin's 30-70 blends. You have a 30-70 mixture of 2 or 3 blends. Up to 3 blends are allowed. And you can have a rice bran.
Is that good or not good for you?
So
blending is good or not good?
Blending is very good. And blending is scientific. We have done randomized control trials to show that blending is the right thing.
What is the advantage of blending?
Because you get best of MUFA and PUFA. See, it's all about balancing omega-3 with omega-6 with omega-9.
Okay.
It's all about MUFA, PUFA and saturated fats. Not everything is bad.
So which oils are the best for you?
So you need to give blended oils. These are commercially available. And these are made by some of the Make in India manufacturers.
No, but blended also, which ones? Within blended also, there are so many types. Which ones do you advocate?
I would give a backbone of a rice bran blend.
Okay.
Okay. Even now, olive oil with flaxseed oil blend is available.
Okay.
Okay. So you need to ensure that you blend 2 oils, you cook in less oils, and change the cooking practice. That's very important.
What do you mean
recognize.
change the cooking practice?
So you need to have healthy cooking practices, and do not reheat in the same oil.
Reheat, and you're also against the microwave and all of that.
Yeah,
right?
because it's all artificial. You're creating a lot of free radical damage. That's why we are not only seeing cardiometabolic diseases rising up, but we are also seeing cancers going up.
Absolutely.
And we need to be mindful of eating.
Yes.
See, we all love tasty food, okay? But taste and share.
Yeah.
So, my message to you to tell everybody is that taste tasty food, but learn to share it and eat less.
Right.
We need both emotional and physical healing.
Correct.
Because it's important to remember that all the diseases come because of a dual jeopardy. There is some physical disorder, but underlying that physical disorder is a behavioral pattern.
Right.
And that behavioral pattern is linked to emotions.
And talking about emotions and behavioral pattern, you've been talking non-stop about digital detox.
Correct.
I'm guilty of over digital stimulation. How does one really detach?
So, all throughout our ancestors, we used to have fastings. We were a fasting and a feasting country. And there is Ritucharya. So that means we are changing seasons. For example, from monsoon to winter. So in Ritucharya, what's happening is that when you change a season, you change the food and you fast and feast. Similarly, the new term, because we are intoxicated with devices, is called dopamine fasting. Which means
dopamine fasting.
Because when you are constantly on your cell phone or a computer screen, video screen, or your television screen, you are stimulating and blocking your chemicals in the brain. And that is causing a disarray, as they would call it, in the brain. And therefore, the rule is, the mantra is digital detox. Half an hour before going to sleep and half an hour after getting up from sleep, don't do any mobile phone or WhatsApp. Don't do any computer screen. Don't do any TV screen. You will wake up cluttered.
One of the things that we spoke about right before this video was yoga, right? And you're a big advocate of yoga, and you even said that I'm a teacher, and don't say yoga, it's actually yoga. It's actually yoga. Tell me more about your thoughts around yoga, as well as, you're one of those few allopathy doctors who believes a lot in ancient Indian medicines. Can you talk about these two, which are both very intrinsic to India and our culture?
So our ancient wisdom and our modern medicine is all linked. Modern medicine is putting it in an evidence-based way, what our ancestors have already discovered. We are rediscovering it and putting an evidence-based fact to it. So yoga has multiple components. Yoga has cleansing processes called kriyas.
Right.
You do neti, dhavti, that is a kriya of the yoga. That's the first component.
Correct.
Second component of the yoga is asanas. Most people know asanas. Asanas are postures. The best asana is Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar has 12 components. Why is Surya Namaskar there? It balances sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And we have done research in it. The next component of yoga is pranayama, breathing exercises. We saw in COVID, if you want to improve your lung function, you do pranayama. Right. And we have done research in it. Then is meditation, including chanting. We have done a study with Calcutta School of Tropical Medicine, which we have published, where we have asked young athletes before their game to chant Gayatri Mantra and reduce anxiety.
Fantastic.
So this is Indian science. We need to produce evidence based on it. And we need to do it in a RCT fashion. So yoga has multiple components. It has kriyas, which is processes. It has asanas, which are postures. It has breathing exercises or pranayama. It has meditative techniques and mantra chanting.
It's all encompassing.
And then you have dhyana. Dhyana is meditation. Right. So there are actually 9 components in the yogic process.
Thank you. That was extremely informative, and really it's something that people need to hear from an allopath, that yoga, some of these ancient techniques of meditation can make a huge impact on our lifestyle. So I'm so glad you brought that up. Now let's talk about 2 topics, hardcore science, that I know you're personally very passionate about. One is thyroid. We're seeing an increasing incidence in terms of, the prevalence is going up tremendously, especially in women. Second is PCOS. Can we talk about both of these disease conditions and your take on it?
Awesome, Namita. I think both are linked and both are very common in women.
Right.
And women are superwomen. They do triple task. They have to be a perfect mother and a housewife. They have to mentor kids and take care of them. And then they have to take care of the family. And then they have to take care of also their professional lives.
Right.
So the stress generated on them and the sympathetic discharge is unbelievable. And that's the reason their thyroid is faltering. Because we are at the peak of iodinization epidemic. And they get something called Hashimoto's or autoimmunity. So autoimmunity is on the rise, predominantly driven by stress and sympathetic discharge.
Right.
And we are seeing a peak of hypothyroidism now. There are 2 reasons for that. One is, of course, it is being detected because low-cost technology is available for detecting it.
Correct.
We can actually pick up the antibodies. And then coming to PCOS, it's clearly lifestyle. What is PCOS? For a lay person, PCOS is diabetes of the ovaries.
Diabetes of the ovaries, my God, I never thought of it that way.
It occurs in adolescent girls.
Yes.
And they get androgen excess. So it's a male-female hormone imbalance.
Yes.
So it's all because of the defective lifestyle. Double education, parallel education, fast food consumption, lack of sleep, irritability, lack of exercise, sedentary habit. It's a little bit of mixture of everything.
Right.
And therefore, I think it's very important for the girls, particularly in the adolescence, to take care. Most of the time, PCOS girls land up with us because they have irregular cycles. They go to a gynecologist, or they have acne or hirsutism. They go to a cosmetologist.
Correct.
But actually, it's an endocrine condition, and it is like a diabetes of the ovaries. If the ovaries are healthy, they will make the estrogen and progesterone appropriately. Ovulation will be normal, and you won't get the androgens at all. And therefore, its real basis is in lifestyle. And if you correct the lifestyle, there are excellent both nutraceuticals, lifestyle choices, as well as a little bit of allopathic choices how to handle PCOS.
Right.
But PCOS also, like type 2 diabetes, can be reversed or remitted.
Okay. And I think you had also, there are a lot of medications. In fact, MKO is going to launch a few based on Ayurveda in PCOS. Do you believe in that?
So, Ayurveda has some excellent ingredients in it which are bioactives.
Right.
And we as allopathic scientists, I am a firm believer of integrative medicine. We must not be dismissive about it, that it doesn't work. At the same time, we should not say this is the only cure.
Right.
I think there is a place of all the bioactives in modern medicine. We need to do evidence-based research, make them through the filter of the randomized controlled trial pathway, evidence-based medicine research pathway, and prove or disprove facts. So many of the Ayurvedic substances, okay, they have excellent actions biologically in the experimental stage. Then those bioactives, when they are combined in a formulation, and when they go through a throughput of a RCT, and if we are able to prove that, then they can do very well. For example, in PCOS, you have dichloroinositol and myoinositols. There is a publication of that in New England Journal of Medicine, okay, which is a high repute scientific journal showing that. These are all bioactive compounds.
Right.
So I think we should never be dismissive of ancient wisdom and ancient bioactives. It is time for our scientists, our ethnopharmacologists, and modern medicine experts to prove or disprove some of these. So
I love the word you use, which is integrated.
Absolutely.
We don't need to make choices. Integration is the right word.
Correct.
Right? What started you off on this spiritual journey? Because as far as I know you, the earlier Dr. Joshi was all science. And then I've seen last 6-7 years, you've just got so much into this mental health, meditation, yoga, more talking about, just mindfulness. What triggered this journey, and where has this got you in the last 6-7 years?
So if you want to drive outcomes, okay, without happiness you cannot drive outcomes. If you want intimacy, without emotional intimacy, you cannot be happy. So I think to drive outcomes, happiness is the key cog. See, health, how does WHO define health? It is a perfect state of physical, mental and spiritual well-being. So unless and until you don't integrate each component of health, just to say that you are healthy is not enough. Absolutely. I think happiness is most important in life. Right. Okay, writing a gratitude diary, being happy looks okay on a social media post, but actually experiencing it
and practicing it
is very important.
And the word you kept using again and again for all these disorders as a primary cause is stress.
Correct.
Right? And this is probably these are small things to really help you deal with the kind of stressful lives that we lead. So I want to pick your brains on a more macro issue, which is pertaining to our country. I think one of the biggest issues, whether it's PCOS or diabetes or thyroid or whatever condition you talk about, is awareness. People don't go and get their checkups and don't know the symptoms and don't know the causes and they don't get detected, basically. How do you think we as doctors, pharma companies, people in the healthcare field, we have a huge responsibility towards this? How do we educate people, make them aware, get these diseases detected? Because only after you detect them can you then cure them. I think, what can we do in our country for this?
I think you hit the chord. You see, we are 1.4 billion people on planet Earth. Whenever there is prosperity and economic development, the price we pay is in terms of health, whether it's mental health or physical health. And therefore, recognizing it, screening it early, and being aware is very important.
We know that, but nobody is doing it.
There are two simple filters. if you have a family history of a disease,
Right.
go to your doctor and get screened for the disease. One simple thing.
Right.
Second, if you have suddenly changed your social status and you have put on some extra weight, you have become a little unhealthy, go to a doctor and get a checkup done. It doesn't hurt because, it's very important to diagnose early and nip it in the bud.
Right.
See, we cannot become end-stage disease treatment. And I think you are very right. For the wellness movement to occur, screening is very important.
Right.
And I think you are talking correctly that we need to screen.
How do we do it? We talk
I
about it,
think
doesn't happen.
He has some missions. Like you have championed the cause of women's biggest problem today is iron deficiency and anemia. And we want to have a, iron shakti for women. Or we want to ensure that we want to have a TB Mukt Bharat.
Yeah.
Okay, and these are possible through a combination of public health and private health.
Right.
See, in India, we have to deliver it both.
That partnership is important.
It's important. The other problem in India is cost. See, what happens is when you go to Europe or USA, everything is underwritten by the insurance company.
Yeah.
So I think the real public health change will come when we will have a insurance both in private and public health sector which will cover some of these screening practices. Because the cost of disease management is actually in prevention, not in treating complications. And then only we can change the healthcare economics of the country. So I think we really need to have more awareness, more wellness programs, more happiness programs. And I think some of our ancient, systems and practices actually are very important.
Right.
Our seasons, festivals are good to celebrate happiness, but they should promote physical activity.
Correct.
And they do, like even if we see some of our festivals have a lot of physical activity and dance. So even if you consume some food,
Right.
if
To
you dance
stay
around
active,
it,
basically
be
stay active.
So be active and be happy.
Right.
So I think activity is as important as happiness. So I come back to what you said earlier, sitting is the next smoking.
Very, very enjoyable discussion. Is there anything that you feel we have not covered? Anything that you would like to give as a message? Because like I said, a Padma Shri thought leader, a much worshipped, celebrated doctor like you is not somebody that I get to spend time with. So any parting thoughts or comments, Dr. Joshi?
So we are all Indians.
Yeah.
We think fast and eat fast.
Yeah.
So my first message to everybody is eat slowly,
Okay.
eat on time, eat right and eat less. Walk more. If you can do yoga and build some muscle, great. Okay, sleep for 7 hours at least. Do a digital detox and be happy with smile.
What a brilliant message, and in your trademark style, you summed it up so beautifully. Thank you, Doc. And I hope we met after a very long period of time. I hope one of the resolutions is we meet more often in the coming years.
Done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So like I promised you all, the end of a highly enriching, stimulating, fun session with one of the key thought leaders of our country, Dr. Joshi. Stay tuned for more.
Uncondition yourself.